Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this boxy cropped blouse from a vintage fabric. I had this fabric laying around and I really wanted to use it up. So it's kind of like a cotton viscose, I think. And I think it's from the 70's actually, which is really exciting. I had some buttons and some interfacing as well. I'm just copying a blouse that I already owned. So I'm just like transferring that onto pattern. But I had to shorten it a little bit because I didn't have enough of that vintage fabric. So I just really had to like puzzle out and like measure if I had enough. I think I had about maybe a meter and a half, not much more than that actually. And it was very not very wide. So I didn't have enough to put the back piece on the fold, which I would usually do, but I had to do it sideways. So that's why you see me like struggling to get all the pattern pieces on the fabric, but I figured it out. I had to shorten the original pattern a little bit, but that's okay. I finally got the right positions for the most important pieces. So I started out by cutting out the back piece and then the collar, which I had to cut out twice. And then the front pieces as well, and the sleeve obviously I barely had enough for seam allowance as well, and yeah, was really struggling with this, but I figured it out in the end, which was very nice. So then I am cutting out the button facing on a piece of fabric that I already owned. I didn't have enough for the button facing of the vintage fabric, so just used a piece of matching fabric that I already owned. And I'm also cutting out the interfacing, which we will iron on to the button facing as well. So it strengthens it nice and steady for the buttons to hold on to. Because I didn't have enough fabric to put the back on the fold, I'm just doing a seam down the center back, and I'm doing this as a French seam, which means I'm sewing together the right sides facing out, then cutting away a little bit of that fabric on the seam, and then folding it over so the right sides are facing each other, and then sewing it again, just all with a straight stitch. Yeah, so the seam is nice and enclosed and you won't see any of the raw edges on that back seam. And then I'm also sewing the button facing to the front of the shirt. I have two, so I'm doing either side of the shirt, and I should have really ironed the interfacing to the button facing before I sewed it on, but I forgot that, so you should definitely do that before you sew it together. It saves you a lot of time and effort. So just sew that together with a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. Then I'm starting on the collar, and I did put interfacing on this as well, just to let you know, just so it's nice and strong as well. Then it's time to actually assemble the blouse, which is very exciting. We're starting off with putting the shoulder seams together, so just right sides facing each other, really like lining it up at the shoulder seams, sewing this together with a straight stitch and then a zigzag stitch as well. And instead of what I normally do with just starting on the side seams and sewing them together now, I will be inserting the sleeves before I actually do the side seams. So because I just didn't know that if I had enough fabric for the sleeves, which you will see later, I had to insert a bit of that orange fabric as well. I just wanted to make sure, so I'm lining up the shoulder seams with the point on the shoulder at the sleeves as well, and just pinning them together. And then I'm sewing this together as well with a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of me inserting that orange bit you will see in a little bit on the sleeve, but if you have enough fabric you won't even have to do that, so that will be just a non-issue. And then you're just going to be sewing the side seam together from like the bottom of the shirt all the way to the other side of, like, to the bottom of the sleeve, so it's a one long seam with a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch as well. So then my memory card was full and I had to transfer to filming on my phone. So here you see me attaching the collar piece, and the button interfacing is inside the collar, so it's folded over to the inside of the blouse. And then I'm just top stitching it, so the collar was folded inside out before, but now it's nice and you can see the outside. Yeah, just pinning this to the neckline. So then it's time to hem the bottom of the blouse. I'm just doing a rolled hem and yeah, making sure it's nice and straight. I'm doing like one centimeter and then another centimeter over, and I'm doing the exact same thing on the sleeves as well, just a nice and easy rolled hem. Then I'm figuring out where I want the buttons to be placed. And my machine has a really nice and neat button attachment where you can put in the size of button at the back, and then the machine just knows how big the buttonhole has to be. So I'm just sewing that. Then I'm opening up the little buttonholes with my seam ripper, and I'm having pins on both ends so I don't rip the entire fabric. And then last but not least, I'm just hand stitching on the buttons, and then it's completely done. That's it. So I'm really happy with how this little blouse turned out. Oh, here's my cat. She's so lovely. Just had to cuddle her for a little bit as well. But yeah, I really like the end result. It's not perfect, to say the least. But I really enjoyed using this vintage fabric, and I just wanted to make sure it had a good use. You can see the color here is not entirely perfect, but I do really like that orange pop, and it's nice and oversized, and I really like that about it as well. Yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I will be wearing loads of this. So thanks for watching and coming along on this little adventure, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Thanks, bye bye.